Good afternoon, this is Kavipriya, Assistant Professor, EC Department. I am going to discuss about the topic BJT, Bipolar Junction Transistor, Construction, Working Principle, Characteristics. And this is my flow of presentation. First, I'm going to discuss about the basics of transistor, what is the need for the transistor, and types of the transistor, and what is this BJT, introduction to this BJT, construction, working principle, characteristics. And what is this transistor? Transistor is a miniature semiconductor device that is meant for the voltage or current regulation. It is a three-terminal device and each of which will be carrying the current. Transistor can also act as an amplifier. It converts a low input current into a bigger output current. Transistor act as a switch. So the opening and closing of a switch decides the flow of a current in a particular circuit or a device. And next is the types of a transistor. There are two broad classification of a transistor. They are BJT and FET. BJT is a bipolar junction transistor and FET is a field effect transistor. BJT is a current control device. FET is a voltage control device. There are three terminals in the BJT. They are emitter, base and collector. And we have two types of BJT. They are NPN and PNP. Applications of BJT are it acts as an amplifier, it acts as a switches, and it is used in the audio circuits. FET is a voltage control device. The types of the FET are JFET and MOSFET. JFET is a junction field effect transistor. MOSFET is a metal oxide semiconductor field effect transistor. FET and MOSFET in turn classified into N channel and the P channel. And next is a bipolar transistor. Bipolar junction transistor is a bidirectional device that uses both electrons and holes as a charge carriers. And it is a current control device. It allows a current flow from emitter to collector or from collector to emitter depending on the type of the connections. The main current here is controlled by the very small current at the base of the transistor. And next is the construction of this BJT. BJT is one of the most common type of transistor. It can be a NPN or it can be a PNP. In case of NPN, P-type layer is sandwiched between two N-type layers. In case of the PNP, N-type layer is sandwiched between two P-type layers. We have three regions in case of this BJT. They are emitter, base and collector. Emitter is a heavily doped region and heavily doped to inject the charge carriers. Base is a very thin and it is lightly doped. Collector is a moderately doped but larger in size to collect the carrier current. And next is this is the diagrammatic representation for the construction of this BJT. NPN has a P layer sandwiched between two N layers, and in case of PNP, N layer is sandwiched between the two P layers. And we have a symbol for PNP and NPN. The flow of current varies between this NPN and the PNP. And next is working of this NPN transistor. In NPN transistor, here in both the NPN and PNP will be having this emitter, base and collector, and the voltage in this emitter and base junction will be forward bias, collector and the base junction will be reverse bias. IE is a emitter current, IC is a collector current, VCB is a voltage that is applied between the collector and the base, VBE is a voltage that is applied between the base and the emitter, IB is a base current. So the majority carriers in case of this NPN is relays on the electron, and the current flow is nothing but when a small current will be flows in the base and triggers and it convert into a large current that flows from the collector to emitter. The emitter base junction is a forward bias and base collector junction is a reverse bias. Here the amplification is done in such a way that small base current will be converted to a large current that flows across a collector. And next is the PNP transistor. In case of PNP transistor, the majority charge carriers is nothing but it's a hole, and the current flow is current flowing out of the base allows a larger current to flow from emitter to collector. The base emitter junction is forward bias and collector base junction is a Reverse bias. The current direction in PNP is opposite to that of the NPN. In PNP, it flows from emitter to collector. And next is the characteristics of this BJT. We have totally 6 characteristics. First one is a transfer, second one output, third one input, fourth one is saturation, next one is active, and final one is a cutoff. In case of transfer characteristics, it is a relationship between the output current and the input voltage. Output characteristics is a relation between the collector current and the collector emitter voltage. Input characteristics is a relation between a input current and the input voltage. Saturation region is a region where collector current does not depend on the base current. Active region is a region where transistor operates as an amplifier. Cutoff region is a region where transistor is fully operate as a switch. And next is the assessment. BJT stands for a bipolar junction transistor. The doped region in the transistors are emitter, collector and the base. All are doped. The region where it is highly doped is a emitter. So that's all about the introduction to the BJT and what are the types of the BJT, construction and operation of BJT, and finally about the applications of the BJT and the characteristics of the BJT. Thank you.